If you thought witchcraft trials were a thing of the past, think again. Centuries after the village of Salem became a hotbed of accusations, another small town found itself at the center of a witchcraft scandal, where one poor teacher named Ann Stewart was even forced to defend herself in court, all thanks to a student joke which got way out of hand. The drama began when Dr. Burry Granger, a notable academic and folklore expert, gave a talk at a Tucson high school, and judging by what happened next, the pupils hung on his every word. While discussing the subject of witches in literature, Dr. Granger described the typical appearance of one. Traits included blue or green eyes, a fondness for sporting the same clothing shade, and a widow's peak hairline. And fortunately for one of the school's long-standing teachers, that description fitted her down to a T. That's right, English teacher Ann Stewart subsequently became the talk of the school due to her visible similarity to the witch archetype. In fact, several students even asked the woman at the center of all the gossip outright whether she really was a witch in disguise. But luckily, Stewart initially took it all in good grace, although she later may have had cause to rue her good-natured approach. You might be surprised to learn that Stewart fueled the speculation herself by refusing to confirm one way or the other whether she had a witchcraft past. The teacher believed that her students were simply having a bit of harmless fun. She even encouraged them to investigate the subject further, and in an interview with the newspaper, the Tuscaloosa News, Stewart explained why she had taken such an approach. She said, "I teach American literature. Among other things, although I've never had a unit in the occult, we do delve into early American folklore and witchcraft. It was good fun, and it stimulated them." Within a year, Stewart had also been asked by an 8th grade teacher to impart her wisdom on the subject of witchcraft and folklore, and she was more than happy to oblige. In fact, Stewart went the extra mile by donning a witch costume for the talk. Wait, but this harmless bit of cosplay sadly backfired. Yes, those same 8th graders later graduated to Stewart's Flowing Wells High School, where they continued to speculate about the teacher's witchy background. Unfortunately, this was in a community renowned for its conservative attitudes, and many parents and other teachers then become perturbed by what they were hearing. And pretty soon they were after blood. In 1970, Stewart was suspended from the school district of Flowing Wells because of the witchcraft lessons she had given. You might find it hard to believe, but the teacher was also accused of being a real-life witch by the authorities. According to a report in newspaper, the New York Times, Stewart had broken 5 golden educational rules. These included causing her fellow teachers mental stress, insubordination, and addressing subjects which didn't adhere to the school curriculum. Stewart was also accused of teaching about witchcraft in such a way that it affects students psychologically. But the final damaging charge was undoubtedly the most general, being a poor influence. Oh, and the school board certainly made Stewart wait to learn her fate, too. The hearing they first called took place in December 1970. But after barely 5 minutes, they postponed their decision for a further couple of months. Stewart was placed on an indefinite suspension in the meantime. It was, in fact, only in March 1971 that a concrete decision was finally taken. Stewart was told that after 11 years as a teacher at the school, her contract was not getting renewed. Yet the lengthy delay in notifying the accused ended up actually working in her favor. Yes, according to Arizona law, a tenured teacher can only be dismissed if the relevant hearing has taken place before the date of March 15th. Stewart was only staged 8 days after this deadline, and as a result, the woman accused of being a witch was able to seek legal redress. Further details about the hearing in question later emerged. It was revealed that Victor Manili, the Flowing Wells High School principal, had read out various complaints made by other staff members about Stewart's ethical conduct. These had included obtaining educational materials without any permission and dishing out insults to both admin staff and teachers. Rose Silver, a lawyer acting for Pima County, tried to get the school board to settle their differences with Stewart out of court, but to no avail. And then in April 1971, the teacher was on the receiving end of a unanimous vote by the Flowing Wells Education Association to uphold the original dismissal. It's fair to say that Stewart didn't have many supporters in her corner at the time. The petition to uphold the board's decision was signed by almost every member of the faculty. And with word spreading about her rumored witchcraft status, even Stewart's friends and neighbors started to give her a wide berth. Even worse, Stewart began to receive hate mail, including a warning which read, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." In order to diffuse the furor, the teacher altered her haircut so that it no longer resembled the allegedly witch-like widow's peak. Stewart also started to wear a piece of jewelry which she claimed would prove an absence of any witchcraft in her blood. The jewelry item in question was the ebony cross that had been passed down the Stewart family from her great-grandmother, and the relevance to the teacher's unresolved predicament. Well, Stewart argued, "I wear it because a real witch wouldn't dare, and I want to demonstrate that I've been defamed." Stewart also told the Tuscaloosa News why she had felt it was necessary to take a trip to the hairdresser. The teacher said, "It may be a bit of showmanship, but what the hell? I'm the dramatic, flamboyant type and not one to be content sitting quietly by saying little. I never have been." Luckily, Stewart had one very important person who was on her side. Superior Court Judge John Collins ordered the Flowing Wells School Board to offer the accused a contract until at least June 1972. Edward Morgan, the teacher's attorney, reportedly said that the ruling definitely means she will have to be paid from the first of the school year. Either way, the incredible story didn't appear to have an entirely happy ending for Stewart. According to reports, the controversial teacher still hadn't returned to Flowing Wells High School by February 1972. And there hasn't been any allow. Any other information seems to confirm whether she ever did at all. Sadly, Stewart isn't the only person to have found themselves at the center of a modern-day witchcraft trial. In 1983, Ray Buckey and his mother Peggy McMartin were accused of carrying ex-botanic rituals at the preschool owned by the latter. One parent claimed that the pair had used a power drill and an underarm perforation that sent their child flying through the air. Soon after, other crazy allegations started to flood in about the mother-son duo. Some children reportedly claimed that they'd been forced to witness the church sacrifice of a baby before drinking its blood. Others told their families that they'd seen examples of witchcraft in action at the school, including some taking flight. Such claims sound ridiculous, of course. Unfortunately for McMartin and Buckey, they were made during a period of satanic panic. Yes, the 1970s and 1980s was an era when many people in the United States became genuinely fearful that they were living among dark supernatural forces. As a result, the mother and son were arrested and charged with more than 200 offenses. To make matters even worse, their subsequent criminal trial lasted 3 years. Not only was this the longest criminal trial in the history of American law, it was also the costliest. And it all proved to be for nothing. Both McMartin and eventually Buckey were cleared of every single charge they faced. Of course, the most famous witchcraft trial of all time occurred way back at the end of the 17th century. In 1692, approximately 25 men and women were sentenced to death after being found guilty of sorcery in the Massachusetts village of Salem. And this was something that Stewart referenced in an interview with the Tuscaloosa News, referring to all the accusations against her. Stewart said, "I surely would have been burned at the stake by now if this had happened in 18th century Salem." The teacher also confirmed that contrary to public belief, she'd never confirmed herself as a witch, adding, "I just said I had the physical characteristics, and the kids chose to believe I was one." He said in the same interview, Stewart insisted that these characteristics were just coincidental. She said, "I'm hippie, but not a hippie. I can't do anything more about that than my pointed left ear and the note on it." The teacher also denied that she was agnostic, adding, "I definitely believe in God and all the universal forces. But could there actually have been some substance to all the incredulous accusations?" Well, William Stewart also told the same newspaper he believed that his wife did possess some form of ESP, extrasensory perception. And even more surprisingly, the woman at the center of all the witchy drama agreed. When asked about the possibility of being a witch for real, an honest Stewart replied, "I don't believe so, but I guess I can't be positive. Yeah, I've wondered. The physical attributes in the ESP, but I've asked myself, why me? Don't I have enough problems as it is?" Second to all of this might be making you wonder, just what is a witch anyway? And why do they apparently fly broomsticks?